Sorry? I can't hear you. It's up to you. Do you have
All right. Well, good afternoon. I'm Christopher Brannon. I'm the president of koha-US. This is George Williams. He is the vice president. We also have our other officers here who can stand up. I'd like to introduce you real quick. Our secretary, Jason Robb. Our treasurer, where are you? John, sorry, I'm going to slaughter your name. Sturmans? All right. And member at large, Fred King. And I'm going to release George so he can take care of some stuff online. So, koha-US, just want to give a brief introduction. We're a user group for the United States, but it is open for everybody. We started this 4 or 5 years ago. Actually, this came to be after the last KohaCon that was in Reno. There was some talk about it at the conference, and a bunch of us decided we needed to go ahead and start a users group. Basically, we started up with the idea we wanted to be able to collaborate about ideas for Koha, for libraries in the US, what we had in common, what we wanted to do together. We also wanted to be able to create a group where we could raise funds so that we could collaborate on projects that we have in common that we wanted to see move forward. So those are kind of the, some of the common goals that we have as a group. We do have a website you can come visit at koha-US. It's actually koha-us.org. And we're going to be holding our general meeting right now. This is what we do once a month. We have a board meeting with the board members once a month, the first Wednesday of the month, and then the second Wednesday we hold our general meeting. And on our website, you can keep track of all the things that we were talking about. We have a link up there that talks about US, koha-US, and on that page, under administration, all sorts of great things about us. We've got meeting archives here, and Jason has been doing a great job keeping track of all this stuff, and we actually have our agenda for today linked there. So if you want to pull that up yourself, you're welcome to do that. So again, this meeting is open to all. You don't have to be a member to be a part of our meetings, but membership basically gives you a couple of privileges right now. Right now, membership means that, well, first of all, the membership fee, which is $25 a year, right now it's $12.50, as it was mentioned earlier. We prorate that for half a year. But the reason that we have the membership is to help raise funds for development. And today one of our agenda items is talking about moving forward with our development process, which we voted on last month. You don't have to be a member to take part in things, but membership does give you voting privileges. So the things that we vote on, and we have some things that we will vote on this week, those are strictly for members. You get the power to help move our organization forward. So we're going to go ahead and open up the meeting, and we're going to start off with announcements. Does anybody from koha-US or anyone visiting have anything that they want to share with the group before we go forward with the rest of the agenda? John.
Just a quick note that we moved to 1711, and we won't be spending very much time here. I've got 1805 on my phone, so server, and based on the looks of that, that permanently.
Awesome. Any other announcements? Okay, we will move forward here. All right, so recently we sent out an email, Jason sent out an email talking about bylaw amendments. We had just amended the bylaws. Originally, when we created the bylaws, we had a line in there stating that the officers would control how the bylaws were amended. And now that we have actual membership, we have moved that, we have adjusted that so that membership has control over the bylaws so we don't go crazy. So we want to make sure that we're being held accountable so voting members actually control changes in the bylaws from now on. We also have online, there's a link in the agenda for the proposed bylaw changes. Jason, you sent that out, correct?
Yep, it went out to the koha-US with the same day that the announcement for the thing went out.
Okay, so it went out on the koha-US list. Generally, we do a lot of our announcements on the Koha community list as well, and Bywater Partners, but this one just went out on the koha-US. So this outlines the changes that are in the amendments. What's major in here in the change is we're going to be adding another seat for the board. Currently we have one member at large, and we're going to open that up to 2 members at large, so that we have one that represents an organization that is not vendor supported, and another one that represents somebody that is supported. We're going to open that up for voting this next. When are we doing voting? It's next. What did you say?
To follow our proposed guidelines for voting in the provision, we'll probably open up voting on this Friday, which is 1 week following the announcement, and then that'll remain open until next Friday.
Okay.
And that the voting link will go out to Kate for draw your.
So we'll be sending that link out to members of koha-US, and they'll be able to vote on this. So we're going to be adding another seat for the board. We're also outlining when we're going to be changing seats. We're looking at our current bylaws, and we realized, oh, we don't want to have a large percent of our board changing at once. So we're staggering things. And so that does mean that we will be voting for John's seat again, and if unopposed, he can run again. So the bylaws really outline when seats are going to change, adding a seat. I think we took out some redundancy in there too, and renumbered a few things here. We took out some redundancies too. Okay, that's fine. Also, since we're going to be having 6 seats on the board, what's going to happen with votes when we're doing internal business? If we come to a tie in voting for internal business that the board just votes on, then it does not move forward. It will fail. So I think that is the basic premise. Am I missing anything major in the changes that need to be mentioned? Okay. So that will be going out Friday to the members to vote on, and you can send in your poll. You have a week to turn in your votes on these changes, and we appreciate everybody in the membership to vote. The more the better.
And if anybody wants to become a member between now and Friday to get on that list, that could vote on these exciting changes to the bylaws, We can do that too.
1250. What a deal.
Which is actually the best way, because outside of that, and actually giving me 1250 here, that's the only way we're able to have it.
All right. And but
Additional incentive,
oh,
I have another promo that is a killer wrap. By a 70-year-old white guy. And if you are a member of koha-US, you can join the support group to recover. I don't believe it for distinguished colleagues. If I wanted to say whether when
I don't remember having a discussion. Oh, okay. All right. So that's what's happening with the bylaws on the agenda. Are there any questions about the bylaws, the amendments, or the voting that's going to be taking place starting Friday? All right, moving forward. Moving forward with developments. So recently we had discussed a workflow that Ben, is it Dauber? Ben was on a committee. Is he actually here today? I don't think he can. Oh, darn it. He worked hard with a committee to develop a workflow. We had voted for that workflow and put it through, and so now we have a process for working. Basically, what we're doing is we've got a workflow for development so that we make sure that those of you that are involved with koha-US, we're moving in the direction that you want to go, and so it's giving you guys a lot of input and power as to how we're working towards a common goal for development and what we're putting our funds towards. And we do have some funds to put towards that, and so that's our next step. We are actually trying to move forward in that development process so that we can actually fund something and make this happen. So are there any questions about or discussions about moving forward with our developments? I believe we have that online.
Yeah, do you want to, if you go back to the website and go up to collaborate.
Collaborate.
I added a section and scroll down. For development, and then click on the development button and list out.
Fancy. I didn't see that. We got a nice website. It's very cool. All right, so the development collaboration workflow is there. So this outlines the process that we will take for deciding what developments we're going to fund. We'll have a committee involved in that, in vetting that, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see where we're going to go with that. We haven't established yet if I don't think we're going to be. We're not using the same committee that did the workflow, are we? Or are we? I don't think we've decided yet. So I think it's open right now. So we'll probably have to establish the committee that's going to move forward with this process. So that's going to be upcoming. And so if you are interested, with that said, if you are interested in being a part of that development committee, please let us know. You can actually contact us through info@koha-us.org. Let us know your interest. I don't think that we've limited that to memberships, did we? If you want to be on a committee, so you don't have to be a member to be a part of that process. So, any other questions about that? All right. Next on the agenda, future of koha-US, raising membership. So, did anybody, the board or in the group have anything to say about that specifically? And Todd, is there anything that you wanted to add, talk to us about raising membership?
Yeah, we're not going to do that. We've become very established. Recent board has taken a lot of effort. They can't hear you. The recent board has put a lot of effort in to the development of koha-US, and it's come a long ways. And I think that everybody should take note. And anybody who is a US member or even or is a US koha user of koha library, if you have interest and you would like to have some influence on what's going on in the US with koha-US, please take the time to go in and check out the site. It's koha-us.org, and you can go in and register there. The fee is normally $25. It's $12.50 right now, and we would love your input. As of late, some of you may have received an email from me in regards to, or at least the library side. It's been in regards to fundraising, and he will be doing a membership drive and campaign. So if you would please go in and just go ahead and register yourself, and you can see what's happening. You can be apprised of how we're developing and evolving with membership. And if you can think about joining us and helping our fundraising and so forth going in the future and help us with future developments.
Thank you. Pick that up. I think we need over there like that. Just so everybody here has understanding, we're not pushing any particular developments at this time. Like I said, what we're trying to do is we're trying to come together really as a region that has a common interest. We want to push some developments forward. It's very easy for us to choose something that we have an interest in general, and go to a vendor and say, hey, I want to put some money towards this or that or whatever. But this gives us an opportunity to collectively work together, putting whatever that we have together to build enough funds to actually move something forward. If there's a rather large project that we really want to see move forward, we can collectively do that rather than hope that somebody else is going to contribute towards that. So we're kind of working together to move things along, one or two developments at a time, rather than have all of our funds spread out over all these different projects that are waiting for other people to help fund. So we're not trying to push our own agenda here. All we're trying to do is collectively work together to move things forward. So, and our operating costs for the organization are very, very low. Right now, we're not spending much on anything except for really the domain for our website. So we're not doing anything except building funds really for these developments at this time. The other thing I wanted to point out too is our organization. This is kind of rabbit trailing right now, but our organization, we're trying to work together on collaboration and learning. We are putting things on our website to share. Let's see here. I believe it's under collaborate. Did we put it on this one? No, I'm sorry. Learn from koha-US. So we have some things, Jason mentioned earlier, the nacho item model. There's some things that we put out here for you to learn from. We have links to content from past conferences. We meet annually, once a year, to, there's that redundancy again, sorry. We meet annually to get together, talk about things, and to teach learn. We try to put those resources online. We have other things that we contribute online. If you have things that you want to share, you can. These are just things that are particularly of interest to users in the US. So we do more than just raising funds. We do more than just development. We're trying to work together regionally on common goals and interests. All right. Absolutely. We've met in different places in the US, and it's been neat to get to know those libraries. We've been over to Pennsylvania. We've been over to down to California, over in actually right now it's up in Washington, over in Portland, Idaho. So yeah, we're enjoying getting to know the individual libraries out there. So become a member, contribute. We also want to have you put up a bid for next year's conference so that we get to see what you're all about, how you're doing things. Next on the agenda is an open discussion about bugs and issues. I'm going to table that for just a moment and go on to the quick committee reports, and then we'll come back to open discussions and bugs. And what time are we finished here?
5.
5, okay. So I'd like to start off with fundraising. George, have you any news?
The fundraising committee hasn't met because everybody on the fundraising committee has been meeting with Bywater and the conference committee. So we haven't met in, I think, since May.
Okay, so that'll pick up.
That'll change next month.
All right, excellent. Finance report. And John, you got a mic? Okay.
Yeah, I've got a mic. The latest report is available for viewing as part of the agenda that you see here. We're currently up to 20 members, which is very good because until the start of this year, there were only 5, and those were the 5 people on the board as required by the bylaws. The financial status of the organization is actually very good. We've got just under, actually now it's just over $2,000 in the bank. As Christopher has mentioned, we have done a very good job of making sure our expenses have stayed very low. If you go to last month's Finance Committee report, you'll actually see a quarterly breakdown for the first 2 quarters of this year, which revealed that outside of PayPal service fees, we really have not expended all that much other than the domain name registration fee. With regard to additional money, koha-US as a partner for this conference helped to collect money in support of this conference, and information on those balances is available within this report. It totals about, about $9,000 was contributed to koha-US through the PayPal link that was established. Other agencies gave money directly to Bywater in their support of the conference as well. There was a very small change made to the Q2 expenses that I caught in preparing this report. Last quarter's report or last month's report will not be corrected, but those changes will be reflected on the next quarterly report. And finally, we got our quarterly Amazon donation. Year to date, $240.65 have come to our organization through the Amazon Smiles program, which donates 0.5% of eligible purchases. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but $240.65 is quite a bit. And institutions can also sign up for Amazon Smile, if I'm not mistaken. And that gives libraries that happen to use Amazon for any type of ordering the ability to contribute to the organization in that way. I'd like to thank, I don't think Candace is here anymore, Candace Hope, who has been on the finance committee with me. She's done a great job. I'd like to thank her for that. She reviews these reports, the board reviews these reports before their way here, and I'd like to thank everybody for all of their help in helping me do this job over the course of the last year.
Thank you. And you're still needing people on your finance committee, isn't that correct?
That's right. Ideally, I'd like to have 2 people in addition to the treasurer. We did have that. Jason Palmer, I mean, you might remember from the Switch Consortium in Wisconsin. He, unfortunately, their consortium made the decision to not stick with Koha. When they left Koha, when they left Koha, he did not feel it was proper for him to remain on the finance committee. So if there's anybody interested in joining the finance committee, no, this does not require an MBA. It doesn't even require anything. It doesn't even require a basic math degree. It's just me feeding ideas off of you and reviewing the report. Should I remain in this position over the course of the next election, one of the big things the finance committee will be doing will be talking about the establishment of a business manager, which will help to ensure the stability of the organization, even as the treasurer changes every 2 years, possibly, depending on how the election goes. So that's the big thing the finance committee will be working on over the course of the next year. This was a really big year because we set our first budget. We did a whole bunch of other things that really needed to be done. Robin Hastings, when she handed everything over to me last year in Coeur d'Alene, said, "Here, this is yours now." And she had a big smile on her face. And we've done quite a bit. And Robin got things started. I've been proud to keep things rolling. The finance committee is a big part of that. And so if you're interested in serving on the finance committee, the more the merrier. I really would like to have it be more than just Candace and I. One more person, 2 more would really be the best solution. So thank you for your consideration. If you're interested, please come and see me or email me at treasurer@koha-us.org.
Or you can also send it to info. And yeah, we could use people on that committee. We could use people on the development committee. And if you're interested in serving on the board, please, by all means, let us know. All right. Well, I don't think we need to meet, or we need a report on the conference, as the conference is happening. So the development process, we talked about that. So we're going to go ahead and jump back to open discussion for bugs, issues, etc. What is on your mind? What's going on in Koha in your neighborhood that's of interest to you? Either a bug that you've recently discovered, or issues with, or your experience with a recent upgrade, or is there something that you did that tickles you about a process in Koha? Anybody have anything that they would like to share with the group? Restricted to Koha? No.
So I'm curious about koha-US and each conference getting us out there.
Can you elaborate just a little bit?
As a consideration, no koha-US to conference and letting people know that they exist.
Yeah, actually, we had talked about that earlier this year, going to some conferences, having a booth or joining somebody in a booth, and it really was not something that we were prepared for that short of notice. Yeah, for ILA. We're still talking about that, still considering it. I did give out some brochures at computers and libraries, and so we have brochures made up, and we actually should put those online so that other members that are attending conferences can help spread the word about the support group. We do want to get the word out, that we exist and that we are here for Koha libraries, and as much presence as we can have. It is not always feasible for us to get somewhere, but I mean, how many libraries are represented in the U.S.? How many of you are attending a conference and can help spread the word and let people know that we're here for you? I think it's I think it's important for us to have a presence, you know, and right now, like I said, our costs are going towards maintaining a website, and not even that. I mean, our library is donating space, or no, our consortium is donating the space for the website. We're housing the website, so we're not even spending money on that. We want to put our money towards development. So, you know, we want to try and put as much of that as possible towards a development or two. You know, the question is, if we're going to spend money to go to a conference or, develop resources that we're going to be handing out, how much of that are we going to devote to that? So it's a good question. Yeah, absolutely. And we do have several of the things that we had at last year's conference online. So yeah, we absolutely want to share. So I mean, if there are things that you want to get out there that you want people to be able to find, you know, we want our site to be a good central hub to find not just, you know, US stuff. We have links for the community and for getting in contact with people through chat. So, you know, anything that you feel is a good resource for the community, whether it's something that you've learned, a video that you put together, some information, or some resources that you find online, point it out to us and we'll make sure that we get it online for everybody. Fred.
Stand up because I like to breathe a little better. Another way to spread word about OA is just put a bit of a talk about it. You know, find something interesting to do with OA that other libraries may not know about. I talk about the authors catalog and Medical Library Association, Internet Librarian Association, College and Research Library. It's easier to get into a presentation, you might think. And you can also mention, oh, and by the way, there's this work group in the United States called koha-US. Maybe heard by Canadian?
Question, Becker.
It's not exactly a question, but I came from Brannon, University of Brannon. We are the first one to implement koha in the Caribbean. So we are in South America, English-speaking country. We are more aligned. I'm very glad that I stayed back for this session. I'm hoping that koha-US can support us in upgrading and other things. For example, by-water solution and PDF which offer customized solutions and technical support. Some of these countries cannot afford it. That's the reality. And we started, just now as the gentleman said, we started presenting koha in the Heritage Regional Conference. We started in 2010, we operated our library. And today in 2018, we have 4 Caribbean islands. Trinidad, Dominican Republic, St. Lucia, and one more country. They have implemented koha in the library. But one of the challenges that we face in the Caribbean is that the technical support, that is, Linux, you have that on your agenda. Linux knowledge, that's number one. Number two, though we have koha users who label forums and all of that, sometimes it's not really clear. A document, like how do you have make an update, which I'm going to discuss some of the very conversation. But I really like your gesture that you like to support the outside of US. In fact, I'm trying to become a member over US, sorry, to benefit from my knowledge. And, good job. Thank you for.
Thank you. And, you know, we're going to have a panel on one of the other days just talking about koha-US and the stuff that, you know, where we've been and where we're going. I hope I haven't said too much about it today. I didn't want to spoil the panel or anything, but yes. But no, I am excited that, you know, we are, you know, reaching out to people outside the U.S. You know, we never wanted to be exclusive. We're just a group of people in a common area that are working on similar things, and we're trying to work together. And there's no reason that some of the things that we picked up and learned can't benefit somebody outside the U.S. And in fact, you know, I'm hoping that if there are regions outside the U.S. that want to develop a user group, that they are inspired to do so. You know, we need to support each other. Microphone.
I have a little voice. In fact, I'm in charge of the koha user group in France, so I'm really interested by your group and to see your meetings. And I think we can really try to cooperate with other koha user groups. I know that we already begin to do that in Europe. But I think we have to do that with the koha user group too. And I'm really interested in how you choose the development you will fund, and how you can fund it only with the koha user group fundings, because we try to do the same thing in France, and it's difficult to. We have meetings too. We have 70 members in the group, but there are no so much reaction when we are in meetings. People say, yes, it would be great, but they don't react so much to tell us what they are really interested in and what we should fund. So if you could say me how you choose it and how you make the people participate, I will be interested.
Make the people participate. Lots of chocolate bribes. Now, you know, we're in those beginning phases too, you know, and we just got through the big hurdles of coming up with this development flow. We haven't even tested it yet, so you know, we'll let you know how it works. But I'm hoping that, you know, our membership will participate, that they will give us input, because the more input, the more participation that we have, the better idea we're going to have of what direction to go in. People, you know, I've gone to meetings and people have been resistant to share, and, you know, Jason, our secretary, comes up here and says, oh, I don't know a whole lot about this, and he shows us this mega menu that's like, I love it, you know. It's like, you know, I don't, you know, you say you don't have a lot of skill in something or a lot of knowledge in something, and you create something wonderful, and it's like, I am glad you share that with us, and we need to be able to share those ideas. We need to be able to share things. And, you know, I am totally one of those introverts. You know, I'll go home and, you know, just kind of go in my little cave and do my own thing. But it took me a lot to get out and say things. And 15 years ago, when I started at our library, you know, I had to push myself to talk to people and to speak up and say things, no matter how goofy or absurd it sounded. And Nick knows how out there I can be when I bring up ideas or, you know, ask questions, because, you know, you just learn to ask questions, and the community does not judge you, and I'm grateful for that. Nick has never made me feel bad for asking him questions, no matter how absurd it sounded, or, you know, what a far stretch it was to try and do something that I was thinking about. Or, you know, I'll say something and it may be completely off base, and he throws something back that, oh, I didn't think of it that way. You know, that's what the community is about. And so hopefully, you know, we can get people involved in directing those developments. We can we can get together on the same page through our process and get something moving. I'm looking forward to this because this is the next big hurdle for us. We need to do this because this is really one of the main things that we were designed to do, is to help move a development forward. And so I'm excited about it. I don't know about you. Are you excited about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. No, I'm really excited about it. And so hopefully, you know, we can figure out, you know, what's going to work and what doesn't. If you've got things that you know that haven't worked, by all means, feel free to share it with us. We'd love to hear it so that we can tell whether or not we don't want to repeat the same steps that you've seen fail. If you know it's not going to work, or you know that there's some issues with a certain direction, we would love to know about it. We'd like to be able to find the course that's going to work for the group. All right, I feel like I've been on a soapbox. Any other discussions about things that you've learned with Koha, bugs, anything that you want to share with the group? What's that?
Well, first, one thing about getting people to participate is that our open discussion has been really helpful. Like when I first started, I was really not interested in speaking up, but like every meeting, someone brought up a bug that they cared about and that they put in, and they wanted to see move forward. And a lot of times it was Christopher, and like that made me feel more comfortable later when I started doing bugs about saying, hey, here's a bug I just put in, and you know, if anyone's interested, and also having a problem or interested in it. And I think that like that's really helpful that we have that at every meeting. Just, you know, even if it's only a little bit of time to make sure to talk about, you know, what people want moving forward and have the time for that. And I think that's perfect.
Thank you. One of the things I wanted to bring up, you know, I put this at the bottom of all of our agendas. It was a discussion that we had a while back. You know, we talked about the fact that, you know, we want to draw people in. We want more participation with the user group. We want more participation with bugs, really. I love participating with bugs. If not to, you know, write a patch, at least to have a discussion about what I see going on in the bug. And, you know, if I think something looks off, I'll ask a question. Your participation matters, no matter how much you know or don't know. One of the things that I feel has been a barrier, one of the things that's been a barrier for me, you know, as much as I have to ask questions and bug people, the barrier for me has been Linux. How many of you work in a library that operates with Windows? Okay, quite a few of you. How many of you work in a library that operates with Linux? Quite a few less, okay? This is a prime example of one of the barriers that I feel is out there that we deal with is, I don't know a whole lot about Linux, and I'm learning a little bit as we go, working with the Koha dev box, working with virtual machines. I learned a little bit. I don't know nearly as much as I want to know. But, you know, this is one of the things that we need to keep an open discussion about, because I want that to become less of a barrier for us. I want it to be something that, you know, people are less afraid of trying to build their own Koha box, whether it's through Koha dev box or a virtual machine or whatever. You know, when we were exploring Koha, I threw together a virtual machine with Linux. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was just following some instructions that I found out there. And, you know, it was enough for us to get our appetite wet that we decided that we were going to move forward with it. But Linux is very different from Windows, and I want us to be able to to come together. And I don't want Linux to be this scary barrier that keeps people from saying, "Well, I'm going to go out there and try and help with bugs." They have the sandboxes online for us to test some bugs in. Unfortunately, there's only so much you can do with the sandbox before you run into some barriers because you can't do stuff on the back end like you can on your own box.
Kyle has a new sandbox that launched in 2 days that you can do that.
Oh, Kyle, you're my new favorite friend. Where are you? Oh, there you are. What haven't you done? No, that's awesome. But that's exactly why we need to bring up these things, because the more that we bring up these issues, the more that we say, well, Linux is a barrier. This particular thing is a barrier because I don't know anything about it. We talk about these things, and maybe it spurs somebody, a programmer, somebody that has this brilliant idea of how to do this and get past these little barriers, so that more of us can be involved in working on bugs and testing patches, or creating patches, or just being part of a discussion.
First of all, I agree with you on this work. But the point is this: as you rightly said, many of the people work in the libraries, they are not familiar with Linux. But my point is, I has stopped doing that for some reason, for some good reasons. But there are some freelancers who are offering those kind of solutions. For example, Vimal Kumar for me. After I stopped seeing the I started following Vimal Kumar for me, who is doing a virtual stuff. My suggestion is this: why not move our team as and when they release an official version, also come up with a virtual DVD, so that, just like how you said, everybody can download that and experiment in their own environment, rather than only testing the demo version, the sandbox version, which are available. So that is something we can put forward to the Koha team, that as and when they release the official version, the Koha demo version, this Koha virtual DVD should be available on the website for anybody who is interested. The way they have it. Second point I want to say, in our university, we have a CS Commonwealth Fund. It's a third world country, kind of, our $1 US is 280 we face that, 260, the conversion rate. So we are using another open source software called Moodle. Some of you may be familiar in your universities, right? The model how the Moodle works is, for example, Moodle has so many partner companies like Equinox, PDBS, PDFS, and all of that. What they do is they have a cloud-based solutions. So you don't need to know anything. What happens behind the scenes? All that you do is go for a very reasonable hosting fee in the cloud. They take care of everything. Everything is set up for you, and then you run with that instance. If the country allows for post it outside, but that is something that we should put forward to the Koha team. I didn't see any company like Bywater or Equinox or PDFS to offer a cloud-based solution at a reasonable price. Because I strongly think, coming from a undeveloped country, there is a lot of market out there. So many libraries, they don't have the money to go for a commercial solution. And they're looking for a solution which will really help them to automate their libraries. And in that direction, even you're funding, what you're talking about, some of the ideas, you have to develop countries at a reasonable price to have a Koha instance or Koha hosting solution.
Anybody want to respond?
Yeah, me again. The Linux barrier is something I've been thinking about a lot. I learned from Vimal Kumar's actually I turned it into a production system, which I would not recommend for the library larger than 200 users, it worked for us. But what I would like to say, what I'm trying to figure out how to do is take it a step further. So if the disk or from branch to a disk, fit in and we'll install koha, and part of things about koha or the Linux is all configuration going in with Apache. So both servers are fairly powerful enough to handle a GUI instead of just command line. Command line is another big barrier. So if you can do a graphical interface, web-based, just links. So this the setup, okay, click here to edit this program, this configuration file, this configuration file. Just make it as easy as possible so you don't necessarily have to know what Linux is doing any more than you need to know how an engine works to drive a car. I've done a lot of doing this. You also take it further.
One of the things that we had talked about in one of our previous groups was other distribution models. We talked about, it would be great if koha was, something that was pre-installed on a, I don't know if a flash drive would handle it, but USB drive that you could boot from, something of that nature, or we actually have a small computer called a compute stick. It's like $200, and it's self-contained Windows computer. But they also have an Ubuntu version of that compute stick. And wouldn't it be awesome if you could get that, and it has koha pre-installed, ready to go. All you have to do is plug it into a TV and turn it on. And, not necessarily powerful enough to run a large library on, but small library, might be able to find some use out of it, or at least have a great demo program to throw in front of people and say, hey, this is what I'm interested in.
Maybe even have an option where they find download.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Raspberry
Or Raspberry Pi. It would be awesome. I think we're getting closer to something like that. I've seen koha morph into something new as each version comes out. And the setup for koha is radically different than what it was several years ago when we joined. It was a more difficult process than it is now. Now we've got the koha dev box. When it's running, that's pretty fun. That got me excited. I wrote my first and only patch right now in koha dev box. I was excited to be able to be in that environment, but it is scary because I have to ask people for help. I have to say, hey, can you tell me how to do this, or point me in the right direction for that. The nice thing is that the community is helpful with that, and the more of us that are doing this, hopefully we can get some better documentation and preparation. We've got John. You have it online now, right? On our website. On our Learn page on koha-US.org. He's got his setup instructions for his particular situation. And that's a whole other thing. Do we use Debian? Do we use Ubuntu? Everybody's got a slightly different setup. We need to share those because something fits a particular group, and we need to be able to have all those different instances that are, so that you can pick the one that works best for you in your situation, and you have some guidelines, and you have somebody that's gone through it, and you know how to get a hold of them. Say, how did you deal with that? So.
Actually, I'm in the process of revising it for 1805, and what I think I'm going to do with Amazon's 30-day free trial trial of their very minuscule, tiny, light sale instances to see if whatever can be ported to that, so it gives people more flexibility to see what they might be able to do with it under that circumstance, or under an Oracle virtual box, and something like that. So people would have a number of different things to consider, not just, okay, I have virtual server I installed, but
These are all good topics. Good conversation. We want to keep this up. Next month, we're going to go ahead and close up here. Our next meeting for the board, Jason.
The board will meet on Wednesday, October 3rd at 10:30 Central Time.
Okay, Wednesday, October 3rd is 10:30 Central?
Yes.
Okay, and that's our board meeting. So first Wednesday of the month, but it is open for others to come and see what's going on. And then our general meeting is the following Wednesday, October 10th at the same time. Thank you very much for staying for the meeting, and look forward to talking to more of you throughout the conference. koha-US.org. Thank you.